No society can surely be flourishing and happy, of which by far the greater part of the numbers are poor and miserable. I'm not sure if you've noticed by the very old and archaic language, this is a quote from Wealth of Nations, Adam Smith, when he was talking about poverty and inequality, the topic of the presentation today. So hello everyone, my name is Sam. I'm a law and eco student up in Auckland. I've been raised in a middle-class family from a middle-class suburb, not really having much financial difficulty growing up. I have a passion for economics, and in the near future that is, I might even be sitting where you guys are at the moment. I guess what I'm trying to say is I know how you guys look at the world, how we think in CG models, in big rocks I heard a lot of today, it seems to be the buzzword, or N-tips, graphs, models, all of that. But I figured that 2 months ago I had an experience where a lot of the theories, a lot of the textbook, a lot of the academic scholarship that we read upon poverty was challenged. So 2 months ago, 36 of us, all across New Zealand, came in this very room, debated upon, speculated upon, and summarized what we thought would be the best way to tackle poverty moving forward. We summarized these conclusions in a document, which you guys have on your laps at the moment. And today I have the absolute pleasure in presenting this document to you. We'll be dividing up our presentation into 4 key parts: community, education, employment, and social services. But before I pass it on to my colleague, I do want to set the framework of our presentation today. Of course, throughout the workshop, we have to come up with a definition of poverty. I know this is a debate even amongst policy circles, what is the definition of poverty in New Zealand? But what we came up with was more of a storyline of how we felt poverty was from an inside-out perspective. It's on your second page, on this black page, and I think I'll read it out to you because it's a beautiful piece of writing that we came up with. The feeling of sympathy and judgment from the outside when all you want is love from the inside. The feeling of raindrops on your skin when you can't afford a jacket. The taste of blood from biting your cheek to stop the tears while explaining to your child why they can't have a birthday party. The feeling of not knowing what is going to happen next, whether you will be fed or sheltered. The loss of your childhood when as a 12-year-old you are faced with making the medical decision whether your father either walks or talks again. Feeling as if a rug has been pulled from beneath you and you are left with a bare floor. Feeling as if you're responsible at 12 years old for something that is not your fault. The look on your mum's face as she leaves wins knowing that there won't be enough for lunch boxes and dinners. The look on your face as your child offers you toast while you insist no, you're not hungry. And just before the next presenter, I want to discuss to you this analogy that the group came up with poverty and glass house, the front page of our booklet. Poverty is like a glass house because from the inside of this house, people within poverty, they can see the world around them. They have passions for this world. They have dreams of places that where they want to be. However, if they reach out, they hit the glass wall. They hit barriers in society, and it's very difficult for them to move forward. Poverty is like a glass house because people from the outside can look inside the house. We can see people in poverty. We can see people lining up in food stalls, people lying out on the street. However, we can't hear their voices. Their voices do not go beyond the walls of that glass house. They don't go through our democratic processes, and they certainly don't feed through into academic scholarship. So with just that context in place, I'd now like to pass on to Anna Kure. She'll be talking to us about whānau ora.
Kia ora. So my name is Anna Kure and I'm talking about whānau ora. So whānau ora heavily influenced our ways of thinking when we approached the workshop. And the reason why we did that was because they took a holistic approach into their ways of thinking, and it aligned perfectly with our vision and our ideologies of people-based solutions instead of problem-based solutions. So we're actually looking at poverty and looking at the families, and it's exactly what whānau ora does. So basically you have your families who are in the middle, and then they are assigned a navigator who goes through all these services such as health, education, and other sources, which our things will be discussed later. And the family is basically blanketed by this theory. The idea that we are trying to get through here is that people living in poverty, they are part of our community. The community has a role also to play in this. They can help others, and we actually need to do this as a country, not as local government, not central government, not Treasury alone, but us as a country, and that's the way that we want to move forward. The needs are in the community, the solutions are in the community, the people are the experts. Let's work together and move forward. Kia ora.
Hi, my name is Lydia Hollister-Jones, and I find a lot of joy in community, and that's what I'm going to be talking to you guys about today. I think we move to change things through connection. I'm so grateful to have shared in the stories of the 36 individuals who make up Tackling Poverty NZ. They give me confidence that change can happen here. They challenge me to be better, and they propel me forwards in the fight against poverty. They are my community. Community empowerment is crucial when it comes to taking on poverty in New Zealand. Our first and perhaps most important community unit is our whānau. Let's get it right from the word go. We believe that providing every baby with a box full of essentials is a great place to start. I'm so excited to share with you that Wendy actually sourced an Australian-made baby box for us to have a look at, so Karina's going to come out here. So this is modelled off Finland's highly successful maternity package, which provides new parents with a box containing necessities for their newborn. The box itself acts as a frame for a bed for the baby, and within it is a mattress and sleeping essentials. It also contains clothing items, basic hygiene items, and in this case, a coupon code for an online parenting course and support forum that utilises technology. So this has brought down Finland's infant mortality rate from 10% to 0.3% over the last 70 years. It empowers parents to be confident in providing practically for their child. It reduces stress in this regard. It provides a safe and warm sleeping environment. At its most basic, it literally puts clothing on a child. In Finland, a baby balaclava is included so that the babies can deal with the harsh winter conditions. Imagine how we could tailor this to New Zealand communities. I think it's an incredibly exciting opportunity for creativity, and people have already been playing with that idea. You'll see in the first slide, there's a tribe that have been distributing these and funding these. We could make New Zealand a country where beautiful babies are born with every opportunity. I really love this place, but it hurts right now that there are innocent lives being disadvantaged from the word go. Further, let's consider extended paid parental leave to be shared between both parents. The 0 to 18-month window is the most crucial brain development period in a child's life. This photo shows the drastic difference between a baby who has had a parent present and a baby who has experienced neglect. So you'll notice that's the baby that's had a parent present and that's a baby that's experienced neglect. A baby who is loved and nurtured by a confident and present caregiver simply has better odds at developing the creativity and confidence that it takes to overcome challenging circumstances. By starting with families, we're prioritising communities. It's our hope that through empowering whānau, they'll empower others. That's what we've learned, that communities challenged by poverty want to see change, and they want to see it together, doing life in connection with one another. The conversation that started in December is so important, and the conversation that continues today is so important. but it needs to extend out into the communities that we're seeking to walk alongside. Community empowerment is just vital to tackling poverty in New Zealand.
So I'm Callum Webb, and I'm here to talk about employment. Employment enables choice, and therefore enables self-determination, which is crucial to empowering individuals and finance struggling with poverty. We propose 3 ways that policy could address significant areas of potential distress. Some of these proposals are already being taking place, but not to a large enough degree. These proposals address the issues around employabilities of individuals so that they can retain their agency and access to opportunities. We believe that the increased efficiency through reduced search costs and having the right people in the right jobs will both grow the economy as well as increase standards of living. It is important to note these scenarios could occur for anyone, not just those in poverty. The first was offering a workforce entrance package. Lack of experience in a workplace, any workplace, puts an individual at a disadvantage for employment. For example, individuals looking for their first job. We, therefore, propose a workforce entrance package that would aim to give familiarity to the workplace to individuals and how the workplace operates. It would teach skills around conduct, as well as expectations of employers, and how to navigate a new job. Additionally, this package not only looks at making individuals familiar with the workplace, but also helping them to be fit to operate in the workplace. This involves making new drug rehabilitation programs and enhancing current programs, as well as increases their accessibility when necessary. These programs on the workforce entrance package should increase the ease of individuals entering the workforce. Secondly, offering a tailored mentorship package. Employees without experience and considerable skills are often overlooked and unable to transition from entry-level employment to higher-level positions. Our proposal is to provide a tailored mentorship package where employees are linked with a business mentor. They are offered experience alongside advice to upskill their career. This package is aimed to help career progression. It will be designed to motivate and educate employees to the point where they're able to move up the employment ladder. Thirdly, offering a broad retraining package. In situations where when an employee is made redundant within an industry, they may not have the necessary skills to easily pick up another job because they're too specialized in the industry which has become redundant. Industries becoming obsolete are more at risk now than ever with the increased pace of technological progress. This creates a mismatch between the skills sought by the market and what is offered by a person. Our proposed policy option is a broad retraining package where individuals who have lost jobs have the ability to learn new skills. This may be through institutions, government-funded programs, or businesses. The package would include a training qualification framework to build upon previous skills and work towards new jobs. These policies are aimed to get people into work, obtaining high positions within their current employment, and re-entering the workforce if necessary. These 3 policies will help meet the better public services agenda of reducing long-term benefit dependency. Many of you may be wondering why we did not discuss minimum wage to a large degree in the booklet. While there is projected to be a loss to the economy, we see a living wage to be crucial. Currently, many people working on the minimum wage are living day to day. An unfortunate event, such as their car breaking down, can trap a person in a cycle of poverty. Having a living wage would allow people to pay for their needs while saving enough to prepare for rainy days and invest for their future. Critical to these ideas and to the overall scope for the employment process is a need for an experimental approach, accompanied by an appropriate appetite for risk. Trials could explore the best forms of policy options in practice before then scaling them up. Thank you.
Kia ora koutou. My name is Raiden. I come from a small town of Taumaranui. It's a town that is dying economically. I come from a very low socioeconomic background, as well as being the child of a former gang member, which is something that's been quite big in the media recently. One thing that really got me through my upbringing was education, that I'm going to talk to you about today. Education is an important part in the development of any child. It gives you a solid foundation to prepare you for the future. One of the key contributors to alleviating poverty is education. Unfortunately, children from more impoverished backgrounds have fallen through the cracks in our current education system. As part of our suggestions to improve education for the betterment of our young people, we took into consideration 3 important functions of education. This can be found in the 3rd paragraph under the education in the book. And these are imparting knowledge, socialising children, and transmitting family advantage or disadvantage. From this, 4 main suggestions have been put together. We would like to see that training teachers volunteer in low decile schools, and in turn their training is paid for, or in exchange for ongoing support to advance up the education career pathway. There needs to be a more competitive first year for teacher training, with an entry system that takes into consideration extracurricular activities and cultural knowledge. This will allow for a strong range of diverse educators that have a more in-depth understanding of culture, as well as providing community-minded teachers. We propose a change in the practicing teachers' criteria. We want teachers to be able to provide evidence that they understand the communities that they are teaching in. New Zealand society is changing in many different ways, and we want to ensure that teachers are understanding and can alter their teaching methodologies to cater to students from our diverse communities. We have also proposed an expansion of the Education Review Office to consider the links that primary and secondary services, education services have with their communities. These reports need to be more accessible to provide accountability. We would like teachers to be able to go back to their communities and develop their methods of teaching based on the community's interests and the vision for their children. Because we need them to be asking our communities the question, what do you want us to see? What would you like us to be teaching your children? I've personally seen how education has been the backbone of communities. In Taumarunui, we have small clusters of communities on the outskirts of our town, and these communities are often inaccessible. But the only thing that they have left in their towns is education institutes, primary schools that are supporting them and that are the backbones of their communities. And without them, their children have nothing to go towards, strive towards, because otherwise they're left to leave town, they're left to go and find employment in other places, and often they never come back to our communities. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Karina. I'm from Tauranga. I have a 3.5-year-old son, and I'm studying a Bachelor of Social Science with a double major in Psych and Social Policy. I am incredibly passionate about the well-being of New Zealand as a whole, and ensuring that our children, my child as well, looks forward to the future that he's growing up into. At the moment, I'm concerned, and social services is something that we, as a group, were concerned about. So at the moment, our social services sector seems to work well for people with low needs or people that are able to navigate it. However, for the people that are most vulnerable, they seem to slip through the cracks. This was evidenced by Dame Diane Robertson, who helped a report in Auckland that was called 100 Families, where they followed 100 families for 2 years and every 2 weeks interviewed them. One family in particular, a family of 4, in a 2-week period accessed 45 different services, different social service agencies, and nothing changed. Absolutely nothing. Now, that identifies an issue within the sector, that the people that need the services most are not getting them. So we propose that with that we utilise the government data index so that we can find those people that are most vulnerable so that we can target services for them. We can do this by using services like social hubs, where we create a social hub in a community, say in a school or a community centre, where people can go to and get the support that they need. These centres will be community driven, so the communities will actually be able to decide and figure out what it is that their community needs, and then they can tailor the agencies for that. This is a way that we can hopefully stop the family, like in Auckland, having to go to 45 different agencies and having nothing change. Thank you.
Malo lele, everybody. My name is Elena Felicio Lawaki-Vea, or Elena, if that's easier. And I just completed my bachelor's last year in politics and sociology. And then I was given the great honour of coming down and meeting 35 other amazing, intelligent, outspoken, crazy people to come and talk about tackling poverty. And now it is my job to land the plane. So, yeah. All good. No, I'm so kidding. I'm really nervous. Basically, earlier in the presentation, aka the start, we talked about a glass house, right? So now, with all the ideas that my amazing friend spoke about, we've created this house. So on a foundation of whānau ora and community, and with walls of employment and social services, with education being the key and the door opening, we hope that that would create a society that would thrive. So I'm just going to, on that basis, I'm going to read out the vision that we came up with together as a group, which is also in the first paragraph on the final page of your booklet, if you wanted to follow. So our vision is to empower New Zealanders to contribute meaningfully within their communities in a society where equity is embraced and where opportunities are made available for everyone to meet their potential. You know, so often we hear about us and they, and we focus on problems. The problem is that they are us. People in poverty are part of our society. Problem-based issues, they're the things we need to focus on. People are not the problem. The problem is the problem. And me and the 6 of us standing here, we hope that today, if anything, we were able to raise awareness on the fact that we may not be facing poverty as it is in India or in Africa, but it is still a very relevant and very real issue in our community. And we all come from very diverse backgrounds. I was raised by a solo mum. At the age of 15, I was on an independent youth benefit due to dysfunction in the home. And out of all of that and a few other things going on the side, I was still able to make it through high school, get into university, come out with a bachelor's. I have no idea how. And you know, and now I get the opportunity to stand here and talk to you about one of the biggest issues that affected my life and so many others of the young people that were in our group. And so, just to finish, I want to read this section because this final section of the booklet is something that the 36 of us came up with together. It says that this is an opportunity for New Zealand to act, to stand up as a proud leader in our corner of the world and in the wider international community. We've listened to the experts and we recognise that these experts don't reside solely in Parliament. They are the struggling parents working without adequate means. They are the hungry children unable to concentrate in class. I was so one of them, just saying. They are the job seekers with no money for a tie. They are New Zealanders. They have a will, and they have the solutions, but what they require is your action. You know, I feel like we are only just starting things here. We are able to come to you. We've had this amazing opportunity. Thank you, Treasury. Thank you, McGuinness Institute, for allowing us to have this platform, not just for young people, but to poverty. But that really is just the beginning. We hope and we invite you to partner with us in tackling this, because as much as we have a voice and, you know, being young people, we're kind of loud and, well, you know, no, we're really loud. But in saying that, we don't have the resources, we don't have the material resources or the access to data and things that you beautiful people do. And so in bringing this presentation to you today, we hope that this isn't just going to be a formality, that it's not just something that you go home with and, oh, cool, we have this pretty orange booklet to put on your bookshelf, but actually that this is something that would bring change. And we aren't just standing here because we got a free flight down to Wellington. We're here because we're hoping to see this through to the end. And all 36 of us have made the commitment to make sure that this sees through. So we're hoping that you really enjoyed our presentation today. Again, thank you so much to Treasury. There's no way we would be here without you. And honestly, we were talking about it this morning that I would not have been able to fund my trip down here. I don't think any of us being students and stuff would have, just saying. So we're like truly grateful. I just wanted to be real because it's true. We are so grateful for the opportunity. Thank you, Wendy and the McGuinness Institute, just for all the support. And I'm going to stop talking now. So thank you very much.
The interesting thing about our group was that, you know, we all said that we were nervous, and we were just, when we first met each other, when we had the larger group, we were just like, oh, what the heck did we get ourselves into? And then we were like, oh, well, we're going to talk about poverty, so people can't be too bad if you know, you got obviously got common stand there. So, but we really were like a family, you know, like these really are my brothers and sisters, and like a family, we did argue, and things got a bit crazy, but lucky Mama Wendy did not leave us, and like our mother, she kind of sorted things out, and then we had, you know, our interns like Callum and them who were like our big brothers and sisters, and then just kind of directed us in the right ways. But it did get crazy, but when we say we are a family, we literally really are a family.
And can I speak to that point as well? One of the things that I remember from the outset, so when we first arrived on Sunday evening, not knowing who anyone was, I think I was in your class once, say it.
Yeah,
that was probably like the limit.
Because she laughed a lot, and I
Okay, anyway. But one thing that I remember specifically is that from the outset, we wanted to know what each other's strengths and weaknesses were. That was like from the outset, we were like, okay, what skill set do you have? You know, what does your person, like, what ticks you off? You know, so that from the outset we knew, okay, cool. This is the strengths we have in the group. This is the weaknesses we've got in the group. Who covers what? And then that was like a really good foundation to kick off the issue. Yeah, and so it was a combination of that, as well as what Anna was saying in terms of like we had a common denominator, which was we wanted to tackle poverty, you know, and we all in one way or another, whether experiencing it or like having a heart for it, you know, that was what unified us. So we just had to find common ground, and then we went from there.
Yeah, I think as well, you know, we spent a lot of really intense time together, and it gave us opportunities to like share our stories. And I mean, we all come from really different backgrounds, but like these people have had me in tears on several occasions. You know, like we've been up talking until 2 o'clock in the morning and hearing
which you
each
guys
other's,
should all do.
you know, like
We're encouraging us to stay late out there. We're going to discuss feelings.
just hearing about each other's lives and actually learning to love on each other and work from that point of actually like, we love each other, we love this country, let's work together.
Yeah, which is probably like real wishy-washy or whatever for like government, but you know, but we just wanted to be straight up. That is honestly how we worked together.
So I guess the foundation of it, what really was just respect from the get-go.
Can I speak to that? Honestly, family or community. Yeah. And having somebody who believes in you that you can come out. Whether your family is blood family or not. It's that faith that you can do this.
Yeah, definitely.
Personally,
I was talking to Guru about my experience of growing up, and the first thing he said to me was, he told me to tell him the story of my story. And I said, that quote, it takes a community to raise a child. I was like, that literally is me. I had a dysfunctional family. Like my dad suffered from depression, and he was out living on the streets. I wasn't getting along with my grandparents or anyone in my family, but my extended family, they were basically my grounding post. They they showed me love. They always had a home for me, and they just basically were my superheroes pretty much. I'm not gonna lie, I looked up to them. They cared for me in a way that nurtured me, and then they made me refocus and just say that, you know, you can do this, just keep going, and at the end of it, it just made me stronger as a person. And I honestly can say I don't think I'll be here without them. Yeah. Definitely.
I think for me it was education. That was a massive thing. I have lived in over 21 different homes, and I have moved schools in total about 11 times. But in saying that, just education kind of was my stability. Every time I went into a classroom, it's kind of like it was the one place I knew what goes where and what I was required, like what was required of me. So education became just a huge pillar just for me to hold on to. And within that was community as well. I had teachers who looked out for me. I had to run away from home during university, and my lecturers were actually the ones that looked after me at that time. So yeah, it was a crazy ride, but education for me was a big one.
Yeah, because I think for me as well, like education is a huge thing. Like my grandmother who took me in when I left home while I was at high school, and she was the one that implanted me, like, you're going to become the Minister of Education. It was sort of a bit far-fetched at that time, so I had no idea what she was going on about. But I think it also takes one person to really get inside of you and say, like, you've got the will to do it, and you've got the will to do something different. Like, I grew up in a dysfunctional family. Like, having a gang member as a father is not a great thing. And I think that...
Not really.
No,
sorry, we laugh about it. We know that it's not funny. That's how we deal with it.
This is how we this is how we do things. But I think it took one person to really change how I thought about things, and I think my grandmother was that person. And then it led on to other people. And you just find people along the way who really encourage you and really inspire you to do something different and do something more. Like I never wanted anything that I grew up with on any child, and that's why I became so passionate about doing these sorts of things, is because I want to see change. Yeah, and I think children deserve a better chance.
And I honestly think that can happen. It's not
It's
not an idea, it's like this.
Yeah.
This is going to happen. We just need everybody on board.
Yeah.
So we ask, please. I think it's just stopping mainstream media from perpetuating them.
Yeah.
Just shutting them down when someone says people on a benefit have it easy. Say, well, do you know someone on a benefit that has it easy? Make it personal. And then someone says, actually, no, I don't. You go, oh, well then where'd you get that idea from? Because if you don't know it, who does?
Yeah, the media definitely spins a lot of things, and it is a publicity thing. Like, they do want to see sell newspapers and things like that, and they're going to go with what sells newspapers. And it seems that a lot of these issues that come up and these myths that we were debunking are issues that have just been portrayed in the public and in the media. So.
Yeah, and I think also another thing is because we have such access to social media now that we also have the power, like, you know, to bring change. I mean, ice bucket challenge, frickin' all of these random challenges. Why not, like, bring something like this to the table as well?
Yeah. Because even like social media is very powerful. Like, my nana just got Facebook about a year ago. The amount of things that she believes happens in the world. These aren't real issues.
And like, I come from a Pultigan. That's a real small town community, and I'm pretty sure you guys have heard a few things about that in the media. But the amount of, like, the comments that the people within our community actually agree with some of the things that are in the media, and then, you know, you've got someone like me who's actually living in Hamilton going, wait, hang on. I know for a fact there are better things going on in the community. Come on, guys, sort it out. You know, you guys got kids that are at the college going around New Zealand representing them and us in so many things like sport. And then we're sending them overseas because they're doing so well. How is that going to be affecting them while they're representing our small town, you know? It's a psychological thing too, so yeah.
I guess in any kind of policy setting, there's always going to be trade-offs. And I guess it's just about the idea, the vision, that why we're trying to use IDI or data to actually tackling these problems. If we get that right, and then again, you're talking about would the communities actually have setbacks against using that data. I guess it's about having one conversation with all of them. If you get them on board at the start and you try to tell them the conversation why you're trying to do this, align your vision and why you're using these methods to move forward, I think that will clear up a lot of misunderstandings and the trade-offs like you just mentioned.
And on that, in the 100 families work case, that's what they did. They actually collected information on the families who were actually getting access to food banks. And the reason why we said we want to use data was because when you have to go, like Karina said, she visited 45 different agencies explaining her situation about how she was poor, how she can't afford to provide for her children, and she's struggling to even have a house. That is so degrading for you as a parent to actually basically be begging someone for food or to just help you, and you're just denied every time, and you have to go to these different agencies over and over again. So the other reason why we want to include was because to save people's, pride, that what little pride that they have, that they just need to explain it to this one agency what's happened, and then whoever they go to after that, the information will be given to them so that they don't need to ask the same question about why are you here, what's happening, and then you go say, well, I'm poor again, I'm not able to feed my children again, I'm struggling again, help me.
Can I also speak to that point? Just kind of trying to think out loud here. I know that one thing that could possibly also be done is leaving it, which is probably quite radical, but leaving it in the hands of the community. So instead of it being like top down, bringing it this way, kind of leveling it a bit more and being entrusting that responsibility to the community. Because I mean, in Pacifica communities, it's a lot like that. It's a lot about the collective and gaining a collective understanding of the reason why that data is even being gathered in the first place. Because once that understanding is made, then it just releases that kind of that pressure of, oh, why do you want our data? Why do you want our info? That kind of thing. So and then it also breaks that whole hierarchy.
I guess that's exactly a debate that we had internally in the team as well. And I guess it has a very strong political element as well if you look at it. So we did try to be neutral in how we present it, and I guess this emotive thought of definition was our compromise and how we're going to put all these clashing opinions together.
And also it was about contextualising a definition for New Zealand. Instead of trying to find one universal thing that would kind of explain everything, we very quickly realised that with 36 of us, there's no way that we could have ever covered the complexities of poverty, especially for a nation. So we did come up with a definition that wasn't as emotive. That emotive piece was actually our opening presentation, at the finale presentation. That was our spoken word. But then we also have a more formal definition as well.
So on the back, in the second paragraph, it's not so much measurable, but it's less emotive. So to us, poverty is a glass house built from a systemic failure to provide accessible and sustainable necessities to New Zealanders, which stops them from living healthy lives. So that is a more less emotive, but it is because poverty is so complex and multifaceted and affects people in different ways, and poverty is not just a literal not enough of something. It is really difficult to try and define, and that was personally the hardest part for the whole workshop for me, was agreeing on a definition that didn't exclude people, didn't disempower people, and made it so that we had a collective responsibility to help as well, instead of being they're in poverty, their problem, their choice. Instead of it's we need to be, as a community, working together to make sure that people who experience poverty are getting the right resources to help themselves get out.
And in terms of showing the country that there is a lot of poverty, I feel like we shouldn't really look at the data, we shouldn't actually look at the stats so much and create a poverty line, but we should actually show the stories of these people.
Yeah.
That's really how we're going to get the message across, that there are people in New Zealand facing these issues.
Yeah, people are reacting more to individual stories and things like that, and
than what they would to statistics.
And people like the Children's Commission that do amazing reports on how many children in New Zealand live in poverty. Amazing as in so detailed. 305,000 children, in fact. And those reports have been coming out for 3 years, nearly 4, and still they're coming out. And it's going up every year, so maybe we need to try a different tact.
Yeah.
And personal stories.
I would say that like it's fairly obvious that people have become quite compassion fatigued. One of the downsides of social media is that you like can get overloaded with a lot of things, and you can see someone having a rant about something, you're like, oh, scroll down. But I think that's where stories really do make a difference, because you want to hear the hearts of people. And I think that draws people in. And I think that moves them to change things. I think you have to see people as your siblings and not your statistics.